and welcome back to Questioning Sense with me, Matt. I hope you guys are well. I hope everybody is doing swimmingly. All is well here. Shoulder's still a bit gammy, so I thought I will cheer myself up with yet another review. Okay, so we're looking at a couple of perfumes today, and I will have to be honest from the outset. I'm not necessarily a massive fan of either, but I think they're worth talking about, definitely. There's certainly one of them is very, very popular, and certainly there's a lot of talk about it as well, so I thought I would cast my nose over it. And also I would put aside my pseudo-snobbery and just evaluate the perfumes for what they are. Now, I'm talking about, first off, Rasasi's Hawas. Now, I remember when this used to be a cheapie. It's not anymore. It's around, I think I did a cursory, not an in-depth search, but I did a cursory look at it this morning on prices. And it's you can't really get this for less than 60 quid, which is a lot of money, I think. I mean, you know, it does seem quite a lot. I got this a while back, and it came at a time when I received quite a lot of other Middle Eastern fragrances, and they kind of got put to one side. So recently I kind of rediscovered it, as it were, and thought I would give it a couple of wearings to see what I think. And I have to say, this isn't my kind of thing, all right? Let's say that from the get-go, this is not really my sort of thing. But it's also quite a good test of me now to see if I can be honest about it without letting my personal preference get in the way. It's well known. It's interestingly, it's been described by just about everybody and every man and his dog, wife, sister, cousin, etc. as a clone of Invictus Aqua. And now, unless I'm missing something, this actually came out before Invictus Aqua. So, you know, it's a hell of a perfumer that can clone something that doesn't exist. So again, I'm going to forget that. And also, incidentally, I don't think I've ever smelt Invictus Aqua. If I have, a long time ago. So it's not, I can't really do any kind of comparison because I don't really know. But we'll talk about this one first, and then we'll get on to this monstrosity here. I mean, this perfume here. Look at that. Pat Butcher, eat your heart out. Look at that. I don't know what to do with it. I mean, it is a perfume, but we'll come to that in a minute. So back to Hawas. Now, because I'm such a snob, I would always go for this kind of fragrance, Julien Mad Aqua Sextius or Le Monserrat from Louis Vuitton. Now, I love these two, and I would wear them all day long rather than Hawas. But I've got to be honest, this costs an absolute fortune. In fact, even at 60 quid, you can get like 4 or 5 bottles of this for the price of that. So that does make you think. And this is twice the price of this, but half the liquid. So you've got to be, and I've got to be quite realistic. Also, I'm a working class lad from South London. You know, what right have I got to be a snob? And I'm not. So I am going to appraise this honestly and without bias. So what we'll do is we'll go through the notes and then we'll talk a little bit about the perfume. Right, I'm going to spray a little on my hand for the purposes of the review. I mean, the spray is excellent, actually. There's a hell of an atomizer on that. You could drown someone with that if you're not careful. Heavy, I'm going to talk about the presentation as well. So it's a really heavy bottle. Cap weighs a ton. Atomizer's perfect. So on all that sort of thing, it's really good. Whether it's worth £60, I'm not sure. So on the note front, we have bergamot, we have apple, we have cinnamon, we have lemon, then we have watery notes, we have plum, we have orange blossom, we have cardamom, then we have ambergris, we have musk, we have driftwood, and we have patchouli. And if you can pick out all those notes in this, then you're a better man than I am. Because you have this blast of an opening. I mean, seriously, for the first sort of hour, this projects like mental. It really does fill a room. And you get all those lovely fruits together, and it's quite nice. It's super, super sweet. And, you know, trust me, this is not going to win any awards for the most natural smelling perfume of the year. But you know that. It's, you know, it's a Rasasi. And it's an overinflated price, this Rasasi. I'd love to know how much this costs to make and produce for a bottle. I bet it's nowhere near £60. But ultimately, you've got this fruity boom, this real big explosion. And it actually, you know, it smells quite nice. It smells better the further away you are from it. And I'm not saying in the garden, but it's much better in the air than it is against the skin. And it does actually, I mean, all joking aside, it does actually smell quite nice. And then it just powers around everywhere. The bit of the watery notes do come in. I don't get any plum. I don't get any orange blossom. Because when something's as sweet as this kind of orange blossom just gets lost in it. You know, it just does get lost in it. There is a slight hint of some spices. One thing you do pick up on is musk. There's very, very, like a lot of Middle Eastern perfumes, it's very, very musky. And then you've got a slightly kind of hint of a woody dry down as it kind of fades away from your nose. But it is what it is. Do you know what I mean? If you want people to say, oh, you smell nice, that'll do it. You know, it's a synthetic perfume. Yes, it is a synthetic perfume, and every perfume's got some synthetics in them. Of course they have, unless they're an all-natural brand. But, you pay your money and you take your choice. And I'll be completely honest here, I will probably wear that once a year, maybe twice, because I've got what I feel are better options. But I'm not bashing this because it does smell nice. If you want that kind of juvenile, screechy, loud, summery perfume, this will be really good. If you wanted to protect your more expensive or more quality perfumes, and you want a good, fresh, sweet, interesting perfume for work, this is really good. It will work for you. If you want to go to the pub, which is where I will probably be wearing it, you're just coming out to meet your mates for a couple of pints, you won't go far wrong with that, provided you don't mind it not smelling like the most natural perfume in the world. If I'd smelt this 3 or 4 years ago, I'd have probably thought, yeah, this is all right, actually. I mean, I don't think it's not all right now. It's just not my kind of thing. But I can see why people like it. It's bright, it's fresh, it's clean, and it smells nice. There's no, this is where, being a perfume person becomes quite difficult, because I have a different view of a perfume to, say, the average Joe on the street. The average Joe on the street will think that smells lovely. And if it was £30, they would buy it off you there and then. When it comes to £60, I mean, God knows what it costs in the US, you're pushing it into a world of competition. I mean, what is Sauvage UDT, which I think is a better perfume, by the way, what does that cost? So you're this is competing against sort of more established perfumes that are probably a little better made, if I'm honest. But to summarise, it is worth having a look at. I personally think it's a little overpriced, and I think it's pretty good. It's okay. It does what it says on the tin. It's a freshie that smells quite nice. In terms of performance, there's a lot of mixed opinion on this. I think it performs really, really well. It's incredibly airy, so it really announces your presence. So if you're looking for a freshie that booms, then Hawas is definitely that. I think because the fact that it is so synthetic and it's got lots and lots of ambrox and stuff like that in it, you will go nose blind to it quickly. When I've worn it, I noticed that I lose it pretty quick, but other people can smell it, so I know it's still there, and I know the fault is with my nose. If you get it on clothes, you don't lose it as much, and because it doesn't seem to stain clothing, I wouldn't wear it on a white shirt. It might be the way forward is to spray some on you and a little spritz on your t-shirt, whatever, so you can smell it. But I'm pretty sure that people around you will be smelling it. But it is, because it's so potent, it just whips around you and it gets up your nose and everything. I think people actually lose it. So, that's where people are saying, oh, it's been reformulated. It probably has, who knows. In fact, I know there's different coloured juices and stuff like that. So this is, 6 months old, and my juice is that colour. My juice is that colour. That sounds good. So this is about 6 months old, I think. I don't know how long it's been sitting in some warehouse or whatever. So I have no idea which batch it is, but for you experts out there, it's that coloured one there. But the performance is good. I'm still kind of aware of it when I look for it, but I do lose it quite a lot, and it'll come back and stuff. But it's gone in 20 minutes. I don't believe that for 1 minute. I think the people that are saying that it's gone in 20 minutes are basically going nose blind to it. So to sum it up, yeah, it's all right. It smells great. It's youthful. It's definitely one for the thrusters. I just think it's a little bit overpriced, and you could probably do better for the money. But if you fancy it, you won't go wrong with it. It smells okay. It smells nice. It's fair enough. So what we'll then do is we'll have a look at this beast here. Look at that. Now this is a real nut job. Okay, and on to the next one. And here we have this charming, quaint, understated bottle. I mean, look at that. It really is something else. And this is from the house of Wataniah, and the fragrance itself is called Alya. Alya? Alya. 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 That one. So, what does it smell like? This is supposedly a clone of Ramon Monigle's very expensive Olay. I don't think it is. I don't think it's anywhere near as deft as the Moneygall one. I think they've taken the idea and made an interpretation of it. This is a fruity gourmand of an absolute bomb of a fragrance. So we'll have a look at the notes. You have strawberry, you have lychee, you have mandarin orange, you have cassis, and then in the mid you have rose, you have peach, you have magnolia, you have freesia, and then you've got dark chocolate, sandalwood, and patchouli. So everything going on here, and it is exactly as you think. It's a really dark, fruity fragrance. It's not particularly summery, but the sweetness is there, and it is an absolute bomb. It's very, very Middle Eastern smelling. So if you smell a lot of Middle Eastern perfumes, I mean, I went through a phase of sort of getting hundreds of them. I'm kind of a bit over it now, unless it's a really, really good one. They all have this, well, not all of them, but they have this kind of like strange smell that's unique to them. A lot of people think it's oud, but it's not. It's this weird kind of deep musk that they all seem to carry, or lots of them seem to carry, and it's here in, there's plenty of it here. But it is actually quite a pleasant fragrance. I think it's probably unisex. It might just be a little bit too sickly for me. It is quite sweet, but the performance is really, really good. This is a powerhouse. It kicks out. It smells interesting. It is just, I think there's a mix of dark chocolate and fruit together belongs in a bowl and not in a perfume. I mean, I have got Boccanera from Auto Paresi, which has a chocolate note in it, but it's beautifully done. And I think if chocolate is subtle in a perfume, it works well. But when it's got such heavy fruits that push into that chocolate, you need, for me, I would like much more patchouli and much more sandalwood to kind of smooth everything out and carry it off. But if you like quite a sweet, fruity but heavy fragrance, this is well worth looking at. And here's the kicker: this massive bottle, I think it's 100. You can get this on eBay for under £20. So it's not bad. For the money, it's a bit of a bargain, I think. It's not for me, I'll be completely honest. I don't particularly like it, but I can appreciate some people will. If you want something a bit different, you do pick up the rose in it, I'll give you that. It's almost like the opposite of a rose oud. It's more like a fruit rose. And it does work. If I think for the right person, if you're looking for something sweet and heavy hitting, this would be a good option for you. And as I say, for the money, under 20 quid for this, what can I say about that? Eh? Look at that, objet d'art, perfect. Or you could always decant it into, a decanter and destroy that gaudy bottle. Up to you. But I haven't heard anybody really talking about it, so I thought I would mention it. For me, it was a speculative punt when I probably had too much wine and was sitting on the old internet and thought, I like the sound of that, because I quite like Olay by Moneygall. I don't think this is completely similar. I think, as I say, they've taken the idea and run with it. Definitely unisex. Maybe one more for the ladies, but I think a guy will wear this if you like a sweet fragrance. Probably a good one for the thrusters, and maybe even for you more mature fragrance enthusiasts. I'm not entirely sure. So there you have it. An interesting and slightly quirky take on two fragrances that I think are ultimately not for me, but they may well be for you. So there you have it. Thank you very much for your time. Have a wonderful day, and we shall see you on the next video. Cheers, thanks, and bye.